professional help. This is not the case for all short sleepers. Some manage to live productive lives and make significant contributions to society. These are the ones who occupy the extreme left-hand tail of a normal distribution of average hours of sleep needed to feel rested. Most of us will fall in the middle of that curve, needing between 7 and 9 hours, with an average close to 8. Short sleepers average 5.5 hours. Very few people are truly psychologically and physiologically healthy with only 5 hours of sleep on a nightly basis. Those who, as adults, were 8-hour sleepers but can no longer get that much sleep are in trouble. Some cannot get to sleep without a prolonged struggle, while others get to sleep but wake repeatedly. Then there are those who wake too early and cannot get back to sleep. Insomnia is a useful model to test the contribution of sleep to keeping us healthy in mind and body. Then here's the subsection called the costs of short sleep. What is the definition of short sleep? Sleep experts are reluctant to answer this question by giving specific numbers of hours. As noted, there is just too much variability among individuals in the amount of sleep it takes for them to accomplish the rest and restoration functions of sleep. When we are getting enough sleep, we wake up feeling physically refreshed, in a reasonably good mood, and able to function well throughout the day without undue sleepiness. All of us experience a downtime around mid-afternoon called the circadian dip, or sometimes known by the more colorful name, circadian slump. This is when our internal body temperature drops, bringing on a natural tendency to feel sleepy enough for a midday siesta. If you can get through this without falling asleep at your desk or in your car, and then feel alright for the rest of the day, your number of sleep hours is right for you. Another indicator of how much sleep is enough is the number of hours we sleep when sleep is unscheduled. That is, when we need not wake at a set time, like on weekends and vacations. Since we tend to go to bed later under these circumstances, we also tend to sleep later. So it is not the hour at which we wake that makes the difference, but how many hours we sleep when we can take our time. If you sleep too by choice, but by economic necessity, the result of having to work 2 jobs. Data shows that the use of stay-awake medicine is strongly related to shift work. Daytime sleep is shorter and lighter than nighttime sleep, and so less refreshing. Those who report using stay-awake medications point out that there is simply too much to do in a 16-hour day, and that an 8-hour night is a luxury they can no longer afford. The economic need may be real, but the price we pay for such a heavy sleep debt should be better understood. It is especially important for physicians to understand the risks involved in aiding their patients to reduce sleep hours with a prescription, and it is up to sleep experts to offer some sensible alternatives. Evidence that enough sleep is a necessity for both physical and mental health has been accumulating for years. Many studies show that the detrimental effects on cats, rats, and healthy human volunteers of reducing the amount of their sleep, sometimes down to 0. The best of the recent experiments using rats was carried out by Alan Rechtschaffen at the University of Chicago. He used an ingenious device. Rats were studied in pairs, an experimental rat and a control rat, each housed in a cage, 1 by 1, on each side of a flat circular plastic disc divided in half and suspended over water. Both rats had free access to their own supply of food and water, and both had been surgically implanted so their sleep could be continuously monitored. The disc they lived on remained stable until the brain waves of the experimental rat showed the first signs of sleep. That automatically triggered the disc to begin to rotate slowly. Both rats then had to walk backwards, or the motion of the platform would carry them forward and push them off into the water. This design was very successful in sleep-depriving the experimental rat, whose sleep initiated the rotation of the disc. In spite of the unlimited access to food and water, the experimental rats lost weight progressively and showed other signs of physical deterioration. They lost patches of fur, developed sores on their tails and paws, and became much meaner and harder to handle. The control rat also had to walk or get a dunking, but since it was the experimental rat's attempt to sleep that set the platform into motion, the control rats got some sleep and survived. The experimental rats died within 3 weeks. What was the cause of death? Apparently, it was the failure of their body temperature to drop, which usually happens during sleep. No sleep equals no drop in temperature. Rats must sleep or die. Humans